What's happening? This is Good Andrews, and my brand is Heroes and Kings. Um, Husband, father, son, brother, friend, personal trainer, health coach, Morehouse man, entrepreneur, general manager, health and fitness consultant, uh, fabricator, hot rod builder. I have all kind of titles. All kind of titles that I embrace, and titles that I've created for myself. A lot going on. What is this? April 24th, 2021. I am in my son's bedroom, which I've kind of converted half into my office, and it's still his bedroom. I told him his bed is gonna have to go, and I'm gonna probably put a what is those little a futon or what are those type of folding bed couches in here to open up the space a little bit, and got computers and screens on the wall and all kind of stuff. You see, I got my David Banner back there. Uh, kind of been seeing a lot on social media and just been watching a lot. The pandemic is. I'll say the pandemic is over now. Everybody's into this space of getting vaccinated, and everybody have their opinion. Everyone has their opinion and their bro science and what they've heard and propaganda. And I'll say this, and I'll get off of this topic. My wife and I have both had our Moderna shots, and it made her a little bit tired. Me, I've been good, just a little sore in the arm. When this thing all started, the gym that I run, I have a lot of CDC employees, some doctors, some nurses, a lot of professionals, just a diverse background of folks here in Atlanta. And if you guys can remember, about a year and a half ago, there was individuals getting sick, and doctors couldn't figure out or didn't know what exactly was going on, and everybody was throwing into pneumonia or bad flus or whatever the case may be. And I had a friend named Edward Ashoff, ESPN reporter, young guy in his early 30s. That to me was like the first sign of this was something. That was actually the first sign of something, that this was something different, because I just remember him passing away and everything that took place with him going in and out of the hospital. And this was right at the time they was talking about COVID-19 being in China. The flip side of that is I own an apparel company, I own a merch company, is behind all our fitness stuff and all the book bags and hoodies and shirts and bucket hats and shoes and just all the stuff we have. And we have a lot of an apparel, and a lot of our items come from all different parts of the world, drop ship. We have some items that did come from China, and we noticed there was a shipping delay from the items coming from China. And right then, those two things were kind of like my first window to what was going on. And then once the shutdown took place, and then states started easing up on allowing gyms to open and businesses to open, and I was coming back to the gym, running the gym May. Matter of fact, it was May last year. Some of my nurses and doctors and CDC folks were coming back into the gym. I'm looking at these folks who are working 7 days a week on the front line, either from a logistics standpoint, planning standpoint, or in the medical field. And then I'm watching what's going on with different groups on social media, a little bit of what's going on TV, because I don't watch that much TV, and just watching what everybody is saying, and I'm just like, wow, a lot of folks just don't have no clue. They literally do not have a clue. They haven't talked to a nurse. They haven't talked to a doctor. They haven't talked to anybody on the front line. And everybody got all their opinions and all their ideas. Ideas of how they want to handle it, the mask, no mask, gloves, no gloves, the shot, no shot, and then comparing it to Tuskegee. And quite frankly, it just shows the lack of knowledge and the lack of education just across the board of citizens in the United States, around the world. And part of that is by design, and it kind of has backfired because when you have created a populace of sheep versus a populace of intelligent individuals, when it comes time to make intelligent, smart decisions, and you have sheep and they can be led in any direction, you're going to get what you're going to get. I'll say this: you have individuals more concerned about a shot doing something to them, comparing it to Tuskegee, because Tuskegee did take place. It was some racist ass bullshit. The government, I forget the nurse's name, who was a sister that kind of facilitated it, and they had the medicine to take care of folks. And that falls into the bigger picture of what I'm going to talk about in Jim Crow and the elephant in the room and just this system. Period. We know about Fannie Lou Hamer. She got a hysterectomy, and if I recall correctly, and you guys can go research this, I think she was given a hysterectomy, and it wasn't her choice. So that kind of stuff took place. So we know what has taken with the medical field and African American people, period, across the board, and just any individual who, when it comes to science in this world, what individuals have tried to do to individuals that they think they could get over and nobody would care. But I'll say this: we have individuals concerned about the Johnson and Johnson shot, the Moderna shot, the Pfizer shot, who, one, they don't know where their water comes from. Two, I guarantee you most of the food they eat doesn't have one name. Three, 95% of the individuals probably don't exercise. And four, probably 99% of them have used the microwave. So you have someone who use a lot of propaganda and scare tactics to tell you about this vaccination and this shot and this medical stuff and this conspiracy, but they don't even know where their water come from. Matter of fact, don't know where their water come from, don't know what kind of pipes they have in their house or what kind of pipes are underground, and probably don't even drink water, but you're concerned about a vaccination. It's a little bit backwards. It's a little bit backwards. And I'll keep it sincere and keep it real. I have my kids, Mason and Micah, and I never was concerned about any vaccination they would come out with. There was never no fear of that. But for my kids who haven't had kids, understanding biology, understanding science, I said, you know what? It may make me healthy right now. It may allow me to fight all these different flus and COVIDs that may come out. But for my kids, and they haven't had kids, how does it affect the DNA and the genetics? And that is my concern for them. But even now, my kids are both officially grown, 21 and 22. And what I presented to them is this, and I present this to all of y'all as well. We've had to get to TB tests, tetanus shots, all different kind of shots to get in school, to I think even for the military, different organizations, there are different stuff you have to do, different shots you have to take. I think you have to even take shots and get inoculated before you even go over to Africa, or vice versa. And so this next thing that's going to happen is this COVID-19 shot is going to be like a passport to get in school, to get a job, to travel. Those three things right there: to get in school, to travel, and quite possibly to whatever organization if you decide to pursue a 9 to 5. If you do not want to take the shot, You better get on your entrepreneurial grind. You better get you an airplane. You better get you a helicopter, and you better start setting yourself up because, quite frankly, there's not going to be no way around it. If you want to be a part of this system through the financial part of the system, the educational part of the system, and travel in this world, you're going to have to show your papers. And that's more than a passport. And I'll leave that there. If you want to know about papers, I wrote a book called GAM Chronicles. It's Grown Ass Man Chronicles. And my first chapter is papers. And that first chapter of papers, it literally was kind of my observation of slavery and the idea of being free. And if you escape and if you had papers, when the bounty hunters were looking for you, you show your papers and they would leave you alone, showing that you were free. Symbolically, the United States is about papers, legal documents, written documents, the English language. First one, and a system, connected to a system. Birth certificate, social security card, school diplomas, driver license, state ID, passport. If you got a car, you got the title or the pink slip. You got car insurance. If you own a home, you got the mortgage, the deed, the title. You got homeowners insurance. If you're married, you got marriage certificate. If you're married and kids and your own stuff, you get life insurance. You start making investments, your own stocks, bonds. And then if you decide to get a divorce, you got divorce papers. And along the way, watching all this stuff that's going on with particularly African American men in law enforcement, somewhere along the line, the papers are out of order. The papers are not in order. They're either driving without a driver license, driving with a suspended license, or they're driving with no insurance or suspended license, or when they get pulled over, they got a warrant, another paper. The system is rigged. The system is not fair. The system has never been fair. The system, maybe not even in my lifetime or my kids' lifetime, will be fair. However, I don't accept that the system is unfair. I just realize, unfair. I just realize that the system is unfair. And it is a system. Because if you think generations are born and died and we still have the same bullshit, that means there is a framework in place to make all these things happen. And it is a blessing, a disappointment, a curse, but it is a blessing to make it to this age. And I kind of see this cycle just kind of repeating itself. The system is rigged. It has never been fair. It quite frankly it won't even be close to being right for another 2-3 generations. I'm optimistic. I'm not pessimistic because I read Charles Darwin when I was 8 and 9 years old. I read Maslow probably in high school. Knew about Marcus Garvey, W.B. Du Bois, Carter G. Woodson, E. Franklin Frazier, Dr. Benjamin E. Mays, Black Panthers, Fred Hampton, Malcolm X, Nation of Islam, Fannie Lou Hamer, Juneteenth. Started reading about this stuff as I was getting older. Dr. Carol Wayman down at ECC. Oh, and Captain Roulette Armstead of San Diego City Police Department, one of the highest ranking African American females in the country. Rest in peace. I was a book reader before I arrived at Morehouse. I was an economics major, and once I arrived at Morehouse, and this was before the advent of all the computers and Google search and all this other stuff, I spent most of my time in the library. I spent most of my time in the library studying because I love books. I love reading. I read everything I get my hands on. Anywhere I sit down, before I even sit down, I find the table where there's something to read. I have read everything about everything on this planet. Don't know it all extensively, but I know about a little bit about everything on this planet. And it allows me to have a perspective and an observation that's a lot wider than most. The game, the system is rigged. It's never been fair. I don't expect it to be fair. And that's the problem with folks. You have this expectation of it to be fair. And what I've done, once I realized that it wasn't fair, was I said, okay. And I've seen it in different ways. I've seen it play itself out in football tryouts, baseball tryouts, where the best individual is not starting quarterback or starting linebacker. The best individual is the person that the coach like, or is the coach's friend. Even if the team is sucking and the best individuals are not in the best position because of the finagle, the network, the rigging, the unfairness of it, this individual gets that position. I saw that enough after I left Southeast San Diego, because the great thing about Southeastern San Diego and Southeastern Little League and Valencia Park and Lincoln High, it was straight competition. Only the best, when you compete, the best get the position. That's why you see a whole bunch of the Lincoln High, San Diego athletes, particularly the African American athletes coming out of San Diego, and those of us who've gone on to other things. That's how come we're so good at stuff, because we competed. We had to compete. We had to compete even under the game not being fair. And so when the game is not fair and the game is rigged against you, the system is not fair and the system is rigged against you, and then you still win, that makes you a beast. That makes you great. And that even makes the winning even more fun. That's where I'm at. That's literally where I am in my perspective. I know this shit is not fair, but I don't waste my time and energy on that. I know the elephant is in the room. I researched him, read about him, learned about him, watched it for 400 years, 400 something years. And it's probably going to be for another 2-3 generations. And to see this, I'll never beg. I'll never plead. I'll never protest. I'll never do any of that. A matter of fact, I even catch myself complaining. The second I feel just something coming out of my mouth as if it's complaining, I catch myself. 6 foot, 215 pounds, run about an 8 something mile now, still benching over 300 pounds. I have everything but a PhD. Wife, kids, parents live a half a mile from me. And life ain't fair. The system ain't fair. You have to figure out how to get around it, how to go through it, go around it, go over it, but don't go under it. Never go under. Never go under. You go around, you go over, or you go through it. Because that going through it, that's where the fiber of your being, the knowledge of you, your character, your honor, your courage, that's where that shit is built. This unfair, rigged game, and then you still winning. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. And I, I try to tell my kids that. I try to tell everybody that I come in contact with. You know, and I'll even tell you this: the system is so jacked up, and I've figured that out and cracked the code. I'm not rich by any means, by any means. I just know who I am, and I can't be hypnotized. I can't be programmed. I'm not a sheep. I have knowledge of self, and I'm free. I may be broke, but I'm free. I'm free. I'm going into the third, fourth quarter of my life. Fourth quarter. And I've done everything I said I wanted to do. Was it easy? Nah. Did I want to quit sometimes? Oh, hell yeah. I want to quit many times. But, thanks to mom and the wife, dad, friends, Marcus, Vince, hey, I kept my eye on the prize. I kept my eye on the prize. And I'm keeping my eyes on the prize even now. Even as all this stuff is going on. Tomorrow's not promised to you, but there's a good chance it is. So what are you doing today? What are you doing today? Are you reading books? Are you drinking water? Are you training? Are you seeking the truth? Not bro science, the truth. Everything has a truth. Even with this unfair system, that's just the fact of it. That's just the way it is. You don't accept it, you just realize it and realize the chess moves that you have to make. That doesn't mean you're not your brother's keeper. That doesn't mean you do people wrong. That doesn't mean you disrespect humanity. Because there is a yin and a yang to this. Though the elephant is in the room, this game is rigged and it's unfair. There is a yin and a yang. There is a balance. This world is based off of good and evil and science. It's a combination of the spiritual and the science. And you can say the spiritual or the higher powers created the science, and there's just certain things you can do and certain things you cannot do, and it will come back to get you. It will come back to haunt you. It will come back to get you, and this thing will balance out. It's never going to go away, because as soon as you get rid of this elephant, this issue, there's going to be another one. And I'll even flip it another way. What if the system was fair? What if the system was not rigged? What if there was no elephant in the room? What would you be doing? That's what you got to ask yourself. Because I literally would be doing the same thing I'm doing. I would be doing the exact same thing, whether this madness existed or didn't exist. Because I tell you, if the madness didn't exist, there's a good chance my light would even be shining even brighter. But the fact that the madness and the unfairness exists, eh, it's putting a little shade. It's putting a little shade on my greatness. But it's all good because I'm doing the work. So, really just want to leave that with y'all. Tell y'all that um, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Far beyond what it is to be a black man living in America, 2021, black woman, black child, and everything that's going on. Understanding this on a complicated scientific level and taking it down to its most simplistic level of what are human beings and what have they done for millions of years. The, the kind of dirt and inhumanity other human beings have done to other human beings. And when you recognize who you are, what you are, and done the research and behave accordingly, your time on this earth is a little different. Your space on this earth is a little different. When you walk into a room, individuals recognize that ain't average. That's a different type of person right there. Respect is given, respect is mutual. But when it's not, it is what it is. But it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Charles Darwin, Marcus Garvey, Abraham Maslow. Books. Drink water. Train your body. Get your spirituality together. Keep your eye on the prize. Stay in your own lane. It's not going to be easy. But if you win and you succeed in this space on a daily basis, it's all good. The winning is even. Y'all don't know how great you are. Biologically, y'all don't know how great you are. There's not many people can work on a plantation. There's not many people can survive. There's not many individuals can survive the transatlantic voyage in the hull of a ship. This ain't Royal Caribbean. So you have the individuals who survive the transatlantic voyage. Then you have the individuals who survive landing in South Carolina and on these coasts. Then over the years, the brutality, inhumanity, and then Jim Crow, Civil Rights Movement, COINTELPRO, crack, You don't know what your DNA and genetic makeup is. I know what mine's is. It doesn't get past me. It never gets past me any day. That's why I move a little bit different. Knowledge yourself. It's gonna be all right.